Hi, everyone. So this week's Mystic Moment was inspired by something I started to do that I didn't have a plan about. I wasn't trying to make a mystic moment for us, but it came about, as happens in these moments. I had just returned to Boulder, and I had a rose that I had received at a music event. And the next morning, I had that rose in the car, and I went for a walk downtown in Boulder where there's a creek and a bridge. And the rose had wilted, and I didn't want to keep it and dry it. I was standing at the bridge, and I took one of the petals and was just feeling the lovely petal, and I let it drop to the water, and I was loving watching it drop. And it got me reflecting on the idea of falling into our lives fully and utterly with grace. Falling into our lives, because the rose petal fell out of my hand, and I chose to let it fall. And I watched it as it went down to the water and then found its own way upon the current. Then I did it more than once. In fact, I did it multiple times. And you're going to find that this mystic moment is 2 of those recordings. And I'm putting those recordings so that you can do what I did. What did I do? I let myself feel like I was the rose petal. Feel the texture of the wind catching me and me falling down towards the water, and then going from the warmth to the coolness of the water. And then the water, as you will see, is a bit tumultuous, and finding my way in the allowance of being in the current. So I'm going to put those videos in this clip with the invitation that you let yourself be the rose petal, or be one of the rose petals, because you'll see there's more than one. And then see how it feels, and see if you can allow it to be a form of falling into the embrace of love, or a form of surrender into the moment of your life, into the embrace of the divine. You can find your own language for it, and maybe before you go into that part of this clip, maybe you want to take a moment and go ahead and decide, what do you want your theme to be? Either way, you can be attentive. But leading us into that, I thought I would give a real playful quote by Hafiz. And his is actually tripping into joy. But there's a similarity with that, except tripping is just a little bit funnier, right? Because when we trip, we're like, oh, we didn't mean to trip. But you can get that same image. So here is a fun quote to lead into these clips. What is the difference between your experience of existence and that of a saint? The saint knows that the spiritual path is a sublime chess game with God, and that the beloved has just made a fantastic move. That the saint is now continually tripping over joy and bursting out in laughter and saying, I surrender. Whereas, my dear, I am afraid you still think you have 1,000 serious moves. All right, so I hope you enjoy the rest of this clip and you enter into it with the same joy that I found myself entering into it.